everyone, and welcome back to another Train Sim World 3 patch notes video, or the first one actually, I think. So hello and welcome to the first update of the Train Sim World 3 era, and it's a monster. With a glut of preservation crew releases, improvements and bug fixes, there's something for everyone. We've put some highlights below, but please read, so this is for Train Sim World 3 only. We will detail the progress of the Train Sim World 2 Preservation Crew releases in our roadmaps. So, Preservation Crew updates for Oakville Subdivision, Rymera Austin, Long Island Railroad, Peninsula Corridor. Oh, why is it called the Scottish Commuter, the Glasgow Cathcart Circle, the LGV Mediterranean, updated timetables for the Bakerloo line, and also Hamburg-Lübeck, 2 additional scenarios for Luz and Cersei, updated LZB and audio for the DBBR 187, bug fixes to Spirit of Steam, and lots more. And then the full channel log, so for core improvements, added immersion controllers to Rymera Austin, Northern Transpennine, East Coastway, Oakville Subdivision, Peninsula Corridor, Main Spec Up Barn, the Baby Bullet, the MP15 DC Switcher, the BR182 locomotives, and if Xbox and PlayStation, motion blur toggle should be available in the settings, and PS4 players will have the toggle it upon each login, and this will be fixed soon. Cajon Pass, the ES44 AC introduction should no longer default engine run switched off. Properly functioning level crossings implemented on the route. And then Spirit of Steam, Liverpool Lime Street to Crew. AI firemen have been playing a great game of hide and seek, but they should now appear in the cab for all player services. Corrected mineral wagon formations to ensure brake release is possible from in the cab. Reduced train sway when entering a service on the Jubilee and when completing uncoupling. Service 0634 Liverpool Crew now does not derail. 8F service, the 1050 Edgehill to Edgehill, can now be completed. Time for Scout scenario should now be completable. For Gen 8, so PlayStation 4, Xbox One, updated stop markers to be more generous in timetable mode. And for Gen 9, so PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, livery designer supported within timetable, so your custom livery should now appear in service mode. And then improved signal sequencing when running between Runcorn and Ditton Station. And then for Peninsula Corridor, implementation of working PIS boards, California commuter scenario now completable, added immersion controls, addition of rush hour passengers, added fully functioning level crossings across route, added specific train formations to scenario planner, and expanded available options for destinations. And all 9 platforms at San Jose, Diridon and San Francisco should now be available. During clean and tidy scenarios, passengers should now depart train at the end of the service. Reworked middle rewards for FP40, GP38-2 and gallery car introductions. And then specifically for the MP15 DC, added immersion controls, added full range of train formations within scenario planner, bell and horn sound edited, so when window is open or closed the volumes are more appropriate, fixed buzzing noise in the cab when loco is powered down, added rail driver functionality, added contact signaller functionality, automatic brake now works as intended, pushing the lever over the threshold now engages the emergency brake, center console number light switch now works as intended, updated operator logo to 2020 standard. And then specifically for the MP36PH-3C, which is the Baby Bullet, added immersion controls, added full range of train formations available within Scenario Planner, remove lozenges from window reflections, updated rail driver functionality, including alerter, contact signaller and emergency brake working as intended, added contact signaller functionality, horn sound edited so when a window is open or closed the volumes are more appropriate, updated operator logo to 2020 standard. And then specifically for the FP40, added contact signaller functionality, added rail driver functionality, engine sound does not fade out when you power down the loco to coast, bell and horn sound edited so when window is open or closed the volumes are more appropriate, clicking noise when loco is running and absent engine sounds when in cab fixed, loco can now be fully powered down, updated operator logo to 2020 standard. Couplers should now behave correctly when coupled to consist, and players should no longer hear grass noise when walking around the cab of this vehicle. And then specifically for the GP38-2. Updated rail driver functionality, increased headlight brightness, improved independent brake in multi-loco consist, numbers on the EOTD no longer flicker intimately, speedometer light can now be turned up and down, on or off using the dial to the left of the readout. Players can now turn their head all the way around when sitting in the driver's chair, making it easier to drive the loco in forward. And please don't go Exorcist on us. Automatic brake now works as intended, pushing the lever over the threshold now engages the emergency brake. HUD no longer displays traction lock when not in traction lock. Updated operator logo to 2020 standard. Glowing light should no longer appear on the outside of the loco. When headlights are on, only the headlights themselves should glow, not anything else. And then the Nippon cab car. Headlights now turn off when the MP15 couples to the Nippon. Coupler now works as expected. Removed lozenges from window reflections. Bell and horn sound edited so when window is open or closed the volumes are more appropriate. Added livery designer functionality, and the Dead Man's Pedal now operates and animates. Various art, environment and graphical improvements. Improved rendering distance of scenery. Cars should now stick more closely to the roads. Redwood sign now properly illuminates at night. Improvements to San Francisco's skyline night lighting. Updated track rendering. In snow and rain, platforms will appear wet or covered in snow and dry under sections of overhang. Improved quality of weather and time of day effects and lighting. Manual switches should now animate correctly. Trees have been uprooted, they are now correctly planted again. Improved textures within train cabs and minor bug fixes. And then for the Canadian route in the game, Oakville Subdivision. Leaving Dominion Road eastward should no longer default to a dead end or derailment. Level crossings are now functional. More passengers added to stations. Added rush hour passengers. Added immersion controls. Corrected the placement of platform markers for all stations on the line. Changed default temperature units from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Removed any instance of objective complete messages during timetable instructions. And various art and environment improvements through the route, including water effects should now be consistent between different puddles. Players should no longer be able to walk through a building behind a collectible. Improved fence textures. Adjusted terrain to close gap between road and ground near Burlington. Blue pipe should no longer allow the player to walk through them. Manual junction levers should now move in the same direction and the in-game prompt slides. Grass material improvements. Improved track rendering. In snow and rain, platforms will appear wet or covered in snow and dry under sections of overhang. Improved quality of weather and time of day effects and lighting. Improved signage for level crossings across route. Added high-vis NPCs to route. Collisions added to various scenery items to prevent player walking through them. And now specifically for the GP38-2. Horn sound edited so when window is open or closed the volumes are more appropriate. Improved independent brake in multi-loco consists. Automatic brake now works as intended. Pushing the lever over the threshold now engages the emergency brake. Gauge lights illuminate faster. Rail driver should now operate as intended. And added contact signaler functionality. And then for the GP9RM. Horn sound edited so when window is open or closed the volumes are more appropriate. Rail driver should now operate as intended. Automatic brake now works as intended. Pushing the lever over the threshold now engages the emergency brake. And then for the Bakerloo line, updated timetable of 600 plus services. Trains should now stop at the end of Wolston Junction and North Wembley stations. And specifically for the 1972 stock, added contact signaler and simple radio functionality. Updated rail driver functionality, and billboard at Wembley Central should display correctly. And then Hamburg-Lübeck. Updated timetable, 220 total services if you own Colnarken, the ICE 3M, DBBR 101 and DBBR 363. Updated PIS displays to support new timetable. Added rush hour passengers. Added contact signaler functionality to trackside telephones. And then for the BR 112, added contact signaler and simple radio functionality. And for the BR 182, added contact signaler and simple radio functionality. Fixed doors not opening and closing with the IC coaches. And then for the Doppelstock, alerter button should now work on rail driver. Added contact signaler and simple radio functionality to the cab. Players no longer need to open doors on the wrong side at Rheinfeld when operating a custom scenario, and route intro should be no longer automatically loading in for the first time players of the route. And then we got Rheinborough Austin, added mastery tile to route, upgraded PIS stations on route, added functioning level crossings to route, improved track rendering, added platform climb up functionality, updated skybox to route, added immersion controls, added contact signaler and simple radio functionality. For the BR422, all seats can now be sat down. Removed buffer with collision to prevent mainline trains running on adjacent track derailing when hitting buffer due to proximity of train lines. And then Long Island Railroad. Added rush hour passengers, changed lightly raining to full raining in Kings and Queens and Metropolitan Mover scenario. For the M7, added contact signaler and simple radio functionality. And for the M3, added contact signaler and simple radio functionality. And for PC, fixed issue whereby pressing Q did not acknowledge the alerter. And then for Glasgow Cathcart Circle, added rush hour passengers, added contact signaler and simple radio functionality, and changed lightly raining to full raining in extra time scenario. And then for the LGV Mediterranean, added rush hour passengers, added mastery tile. Level crossings across the route should now function as expected, and specifically for the TGV, added contact signaler and simple radio functionality, updated electro-pneumatic brake commands, and enabled onboard dynamic braking whilst external power is not available. And then Luzon Cersei, 2 new scenarios added. ETCS now looks at signals at the next signal from magnet signal preference, giving players more of a warning before it kicks in. Changed the lighting around Luzon Depot to improve performance in the Luzon area, and then specifically for the SBB RABE 523, updated audio levels for traction motors, side heater, brake friction and engine. And then for the Isle of Wight 2020, adjusted water edge at Ryde Esplanade, improved foam on water. And then for the Island Line 2022, various graphical and environment improvements, including asphalt and concrete. Trains should now make correct footstep sounds. Players can now walk up the stairs at Ryde St John's Road. Passengers should now cluster at the doors to the should not cluster at the doors to the loco at Ryde St John's Road. And specifically for the 484, should no longer be able to open doors manually when moving. AI trains should now have their passenger lights on when the train is in use. Horns should now play correctly, no matter how quickly the horn button is being pressed. Improved whistle volume. Incorrectly spelt cab labels have been corrected and should now be spelt correctly. And now for Tallender Rampate, which is the Dresden to Chemnitz route. Added functional level crossings to route. Fixed air over braking on all locos. Improved AI performance accuracy. And then for the DBBR 187, fixed brake leakage caused by oscillation of relay valve. Retuned brake response times as the choke is removed. And then for the DBBR 146-2, fixed incorrect wheel diameter. And then for the DBBR 143, improved efficiency of application and release choke. For those with both Navico Dresden and Tallender Rampate installed, they should no longer see 2 entries in front and menus for DBBR 143. And then the Railpool DBBR 185, and I've already seen something which is very exciting. But anyway, removed Swiss features, hooked up unused pantograph air usage, updated AFB to bring it in line with Kassel-Wurzburg DBBR 185. And then for the Dostos, fixed headlight controls not working, and players can now control the high beams functionality. And this is the exciting bit. The DBBR 187 added new traction motor sound effects, updated PZB and LZB functionality, fixed issue where changing AFB would lock the traction lock, updated audio for AFB and safety systems, updated horn speed. AFB can now be activated whilst the train is running, added functionality to driver's screen so the B icon appears correctly when the LZB has changed its isolation state, updated rail driver functionality. The train brake should now set the dynamic brake as well. Added contact signaler and simple radio functionality. Emergency brake can now be triggered when the electric brake is cut out, and fixed the bug where the cab 2 signal light indicator could disappear. Increased high beam brightness. And then for the DBBR 101, series of physics improvements relating to brake and traction. Throttle cannot be moved out of off when the reverser is not in forward or reverse. BP emergency valve should only operate when the brake is moved into emergency. Great Western Express, tweaked colours of random shipping containers to reduce boldness, reduced track unevenness to reduce cab sway, and players can now stand back up after sitting down in the GWE introduction. And then for the RHB Anniversary Pack, which is a DLC for the Erosa line, a very Christmassy, festive one. So the RHB GE442 added rail driver functionality in all anniversary liveries, and then 2 fixes for the Xbox Series. Fixed Deadman's cutout switch in Christmas delivery scenario. Doors were registering as open despite being physically closed. This is now being fixed. Also added tooltip when unloading presents. And then for Colnarken, improved LZB activation when driving the high-speed section of the route. The BR185, minor updates to LZB functionality. And for the ICE3, fixed bug whereby LZB-B was lit when U was on. During snow and ice scenario, entering the exterior camera should now not result in performance issues. Passenger lights on the ICE3 should now be on when the trains are driven by AI, and route intro should no longer automatically load in for first-time players of the route. And for Horseshoe Curve, which is exciting again. So ES44AC added ditch lights to the loco, brake pipe charge time fixed to be accurate to reality. Our rail fans got a little confused. We've turned the cameras around so they're now facing the correct way. Fixed several level crossings across the route. Long and short containers should now align, allowing twist locks to close. Updated speed signs with correct speed limits, added toggle to allow enabling disabling of warning devices, scoring thresholds on all scenarios have been amended following player feedback, and Journey Chapter 2, 10k Chicago to Allenstown should no longer be blocked by a red light. And Miscellaneous, so Sandpatch Grade coal should now visually load during coal loading tutorial when an external camera. The C40-AW and the CSX YN3GP38-2. The independent brake should now work to correct pressure when in multi-loco consists, and the route intro should no longer automatically load in for first-time players of the route. Northern TransPennine re-established pathing of trains through Huddersfield for scenario planner functionality. East Coastway lowered footbridge at Hampden Park level crossing so it can now be accessed from both sides. Changed interior lighting to remove visible lozenges and window reflections, and PIS should now correctly be aligned at Brighton Station. Rapid Transit, the Talent 2, lowest wiper setting now appears as parked and not off. Cane Creek, the AC4400CW, independent brake should now work to correct pressure in multi-loco consists, and again added contact signaller and simple radio functionality. For the SD40-2, independent brake should now work to correct pressure in multi-loco consists, and the DOT117 tank car should now be available in livery editor. Boston Sprinter, for the ACS64, brake handle off position now works correctly. For the doppelstock wagons, improved PIS functionality. For the 1938 tube stock, added in underground logo to front of vehicle. Tees Valley line, reinstated level crossing to Allens West and Redcar Central. Which I'm guessing at Redcar Central would be the telescopic level crossings, as before I think they were wrong. Class 313 tweaked lighting in passenger coaches. West Cornwall local, updated rail driver mapping for the Class 150 and 37. Front end images are artifact free. Class 37-5 rail driver controls have now been updated. And for Munich to Augsburg, all ICE3 should now correctly turn on passenger lights. And for the BR423, added contact signaller and simple radio functionality, changed interior lighting to remove obtrusive window reflections, and route intro should no longer automatically load in for first time players of the route. And that is that. Now that was a long bloody update there. But yeah, what did everyone think? Do pop your thoughts in the comments below. What are you most looking forward to? I think for me it probably would be the Bakerloo line new timetable. Very much looking forward to that. And also very, very nice to hear that the 187 has finally had fixes. It felt like it has been forever, but no, it has now been sorted. So that's really, really good news. But yeah, what does everyone think? Do put your thoughts in the comments below. Links can be found in the description to the Discord server, to the PayPal, and to the merch store if you do want to help support the channel. I will get some proper screenshots from Train Sim World 3 at the moment. Just obviously I haven't got it on the PlayStation at the moment, so I haven't been able to take some fancy screenshots. So yeah, just hope you enjoyed the screenshots, which you saw on the screen. But thanks all for coming in, and I hope to see you next time. See you all. Take care. Bye, guys.